This Civic Media podcast is sponsored by UW Organ and Tissue Donation. Organ donations are desperately needed, and now is the right time to become an organ donor. Talk to your family. Get the dot. Save lives. Go to heroicdeed.com.
This is your WXCO Daily News Roundup for Bull Falls Radio, 98.9 FM and 1230 AM in Wausau.
For WXCO News, I'm Brittany Merlot. The case against 3 Donald Trump allies accused of trying to overturn the 2020 election results in Wisconsin will move forward. Savannah Tomey-Olsen breaks down the case.
According to the State Department of Justice, Jim Trupis, Kenneth Chesebro, and Michael Roman collected signatures on fake documents that said Donald Trump won Wisconsin in 2020. Prosecutors allege they planned to take that paperwork to Congress to get Wisconsin's 10 electoral votes awarded to Trump, even though Biden won the state by 20,000 votes. At first, the 3 were facing 1 felony count each, but more charges were filed earlier this week. Now, all 3 men each face 11 felony counts of forgery. The Dane County Commissioner presiding over the case.
I do find there is probable cause to proceed on the complaint as it's been amended and filed on December 10th, 2024.
After the hearing yesterday, Trupis held a press conference where he accused the Attorney General of playing politics and said his professional life was destroyed. The fake elector scheme is more than just Wisconsin. Trump allies are charged with similar crimes in Arizona, Georgia, Michigan, and Nevada. And the defendants settled in a civil case that was filed last year that also included the 10 electors who signed the false paperwork. Trupis, Chesebro, and Roman will have their preliminary hearings in court on January 28th. Each one of those 11 felony counts could carry up to 6 years behind bars.
And the Wisconsin Department of Instruction was recently awarded a $10 million federal grant to improve youth mental health services. Specifically, this money will help the staffing of school counselors, psychologists, and social workers by expanding the barrier for entry and delivery models of these services. The grant was awarded by the U.S. Department of Education through its 2024 School-Based Mental Health Professionals Grant Program and is set to last 5 years. It was one of 22 grant recipients across the nation. Another case of the highly pathogenic avian influenza was recently discovered in a poultry farm in Barron County near Eau Claire. This is the second case of the bird flu virus found in poultry this year in Wisconsin. The first was in January. Experts are urging farmers to take extensive measures to prevent the virus from spreading to their flocks. HPAI is a highly contagious disease that is lethal to all types of birds, especially in poultry animals like chickens and turkeys. Evidence points to the virus being spread by humans or farming equipment. More than 1,300 animals will now have to be euthanized at the Barron County farm to prevent the virus from spreading any further. Officials say this will affect production and potentially prices in eggs at the grocery store. According to recent surveys, the average price of a dozen eggs in Wisconsin is $4.78. And the price of eggs has risen about 30% already this year. A dozen eggs cost $2.52 back in January. And across the country, the virus has killed more than 100 million chickens. 3/4 of them were egg layers. Ron Keene is a poultry specialist with the UW Extension.
You know, we had kind of had a reprieve over summer, at least decrease. Now with cooler weather and the migration of birds, we've had kind of an uptick. Really, the Midwest has been fairly fortunate. A lot of outbreaks have been on the West Coast this fall. We'll see.
And of course, right now is baking season. Cookies, cakes, pies. Demand for eggs is high. At some spots, supply has been limited. And with the cold weather, oil and gas furnaces should be inspected every year. Change your furnace filters regularly and install carbon monoxide detectors. Remember that carbon monoxide can't be seen and you can't smell it. The plan for the most powerful solar farm in the state has received approval. The Public Service Commission approved the Vista Sands Solar Farm. It will be built in Portage County and will generate nearly 1.3 gigawatts of electricity. This will make it the most powerful in the state and among the most powerful in the country, producing enough clean energy to power about 200,000 Wisconsin homes. A Clean Wisconsin analysis shows the planned Vista Sands Solar Farm will also likely have significant water benefits in Portage County, boosting aquifer levels and reducing contamination. The project will bring community-wide economic benefits, providing $6.5 million to local towns and counties to invest in infrastructure and services. And $444 million has been allocated to cleaning up Wisconsin's water systems in 50 municipalities across the state. Derek Tritz tells us more.
The announcement came Thursday from Governor Tony Evers and the Wisconsin DNR. The money was allocated through the Clean Water Fund program alongside help from the Biden-Harris administration. The CWFP has been administered since 1991 and has provided $6.1 billion in financial assistance for water-related infrastructure throughout Wisconsin. In this round of funding, $339.9 million will be allocated in subsidized loans, while $44.1 million will be allocated in principal forgiveness funding. Principal forgiveness funding functions similar to a grant, as the receiving municipality will not have to repay those funds. Despite the large sum of money being allocated, this is the first time in CWFP history that loan demand has exceeded capacity, reaching more than $535 million. This means that not all applicants can currently be allocated funding.
Additional funding will be allocated to unfunded projects if it becomes available. Practice proper ice safety. After temperatures plummeted this week, they are warming up significantly over the weekend. Some sheets of ice may look safe to walk on at first glance, but not every body of water has been cold enough for long enough at this point in the season. People planning to get out on the ice for some fishing should check with their local fishing clubs, bring the proper safety equipment with them, and tell people where they're going and when they expect to return. You need at least 4 inches of ice thickness to walk out on safely. Winds also play a key factor in shifting ice sheets around where you could break away from shore. And 'tis the season to hear the sounds of bells ringing outside of your favorite stores across the area. From dropping cash into the bucket to app donations, every penny that goes into that kettle goes back to those in need. But the Salvation Army says that they need more people to volunteer to ring the bells this holiday season. From giving up just an hour or so of your time to ring the bell, or help with other things like serving lunch to shelter families, visit registertoring.com to sign up for a slot. They'll be out collecting donations until 2 p.m. on Christmas Eve. And a proposal could alter the high school football postseason in Wisconsin. With more, here's Civic Media Sports Director Jimmy Kuska.
Wisconsin high school football coaches are proposing a drastic reform in how teams qualify for the playoffs. That comes after the WIAA admitted it made a mistake in setting this year's playoff field. Citing a lack of transparency in the WIAA's computerized seeding and selection process, the WFCA laid out its plan on December 4th. Coaches will vote on it December 13th, with the hopes that it will reach the WIAA's Board of Control in February for adoption as soon as the 2025 season.
And enjoy Holiday on Broadway with the Central Wisconsin Symphony Orchestra this weekend. Music director Andy Moran and 65 musicians will be joined by Tony nominee Christian Knoll. Shows are Saturday at 7:30 and Sunday at 4 at the Century Theater in Stevens Point. Tickets can be purchased on their website or by calling their office. I'm Brittany Merlot for WXCO.
It's tournament time for the Badgers. Hi, I'm Mike Clemens with sports. Women's college basketball. The Wisconsin Badgers in the Sweet 16, taking on Texas A&M tonight in Lincoln, Nebraska. This is the 12th year in a row the Badgers women's team has reached the regionals. Wisconsin head coach Kelly Sheffield.
We don't take this time for granted at all. I think any time that you're amongst one of the top 16 teams and playing in the second weekend is very special. It's hard to do. We're happy to be here and we're excited to play. We're excited to get after and get this weekend started.
Marquette plays number 2 ranked Penn State in Pennsylvania. NBA, the Bucks and the Hawks tomorrow in Vegas for the NBA Cup semifinals. Game time 3:30. NFL, Packers and Seahawks Sunday night in Seattle. Bo Melton was with the Seahawks and talked about the screaming fans at Lumen Field.
It'd be shaking, it'd be rocking in there for sure. Definitely a loud crowd. They love the Seahawks. Great atmosphere for sure to play in.
That's Packers wide receiver Bo Melton. With sports, I'm Mike Clemens.
On your entertainment beat, I'm Pete Schwaba. Timothée Chalamet has been getting rave reviews during early looks at the Bob Dylan biopic, A Complete Unknown. Another young actor, Paul Mescal, has been tabbed to play Paul McCartney in a new biopic about the Beatles, according to Gladiator II director Ridley Scott. Scott is not directing the film, but he spilled the beans in a recent interview while lamenting that he could not get Mescal in his next picture because of the Beatles flick. Puberty reports that Mescal's fellow Irishman, Barry Keoghan, will play Ringo Starr in the film. Disney's Tangled was a big hit that pulled in big bucks at the box office, so naturally the studio is doing what all studios do with a moneymaker, and that is find a new way to remake it. Variety reports that a live-action version of the 2010 film is on the way with the Greatest Showman director, Michael Gracie, attached to tell Rapunzel's story. The original Tangled pulled in almost $6 billion worldwide. In Yellowstone spin-off news, there will be a spin-off of Yellowstone. Deadline reports that Kelly Riley and Cole Hauser will continue their roles as Beth Dutton and Rip Wheeler in the offshoot. It looks like the two characters will survive the purge of Yellowstone cast members as characters have been killed off prolifically in season 5. The series finale airs this coming Sunday night. Hollywood loves to speculate. Wicked and Moana 2 have been raking in big returns when it comes to the box office, and that should continue through this weekend, with Deadline.com reporting that the Moana sequel should be number 1 again with roughly a $28 million haul, with Wicked in second place at about $20 million. If that holds true, both films will crush Marvel's extended Spider-Verse Kraven the Hunter and Warner Brothers' new Lord of the Rings film, which prognosticators are saying should open at about $15 million and $7 million respectively. Variety reports that there will be a new version of the film American Psycho. Good Lord. Even though this doesn't need to happen on any level, a new interpretation of the novel of the same name will star Austin Butler as Patrick Bateman. The red-hot Luca Guadagnino will direct the film. Guadagnino's two most recent efforts are Queer, starring Daniel Craig, and Challengers, starring Zendaya. Both films were nominated for Golden Globes. And things a really talented and incredibly famous guy says that nobody cares about news. The great Elton John says making marijuana legal in Canada and the U.S. is one of the greatest mistakes of all time. Exaggerate much? John was recently named Time Magazine's Icon of the Year and told Time Magazine that as a recovering addict, he believes marijuana is addictive. I'm not saying when he wrote Tiny Dancer, Rocket Man, or Benny and the Jets that he was high, but he might have been high. For more showbiz fun, tune in to Nightlight with me, Pete Schwaba, weeknights from 6 to 8 p.m. on the Civic Media Radio Network.
Mostly sunny today. We'll get to 15 for a high this afternoon. Tonight, mostly cloudy, 9 above tomorrow. Some light snow in the morning, eventually changing to rain in the afternoon with a high right around 34. Sunday, mostly cloudy, high of 37. I'm meteorologist Sean Cable. Outside now, 4 below zero.
That's your WXCO Daily News Roundup from Civic Media. Subscribe to this podcast on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you find your podcasts. Find more news at bullfallsradio.com. The national news cycle never stops, but it can be hard to find news about your local community. Civic Media is dedicated to providing quality local and state news coverage across Wisconsin. With the Civic Media app, you can get notifications about local stories that matter to you and your community. Find the free Civic Media app in your phone's app store and choose notifications from the menu to tell us what kind of news you want to hear about.